Welcome to Northwest Digital News in this special broadcast and how to beat the car dealer finance office. A lot of people go out shopping for cars these days, Kyle, and they have no idea how to negotiate this gauntlet known as the car dealer finance office. So just to share with people a little background information on myself, I have years of experience in the car business, hundreds of friends in the business who are current salesmen, managers, car dealer owners, even car trainers who travel around the U.S. and teach people how to sell cars. That's important to say because the information that we're going to share with you today, they are not guesses. They are not people who are outsiders like you will hear from consumers or from Edmunds or these various organizations out there that publish information related to cars, but are not people with actual experience in the car business. So just want to share that with you, that these are not answers and responses that are guesses. It's valid information that comes from inside the car business itself. Now, what you need to know is that there's both good and bad people in the car business. Unfortunately, the bad ones tend to create the reputation that people have. And for those who are in the car business who might be following us today, Kyle, we are not further perpetrating this image that is unearned by people in the business. Because just this past December, Gallup did a poll in the United States to look at what are the least trustworthy professions in the U.S. And sandwiched right at the bottom between a congressman and a lawyer was a car salesman. So it's an unfortunate thing, but the good news is there's a lot of good people in the car business who are working and helping people like me who spent some time in the car business. They're helping us clean up the car business and doing it actively, and they're coming from some pretty doggone big organizations all around the U.S. So good stuff to know. So first of all, I want to say this. We're not here to beat up car dealers, and we're not here to say it's a crime to make a profit on a car. What we are saying is that dealers and people in finance offices should not lie to people. They should not deceive them, and they should be honest and transparent with them in the sales process. So that's what we're advocating. So Kyle, you got some questions that you want to ask to kind of get things kicked off in the right direction. What do you want to start with?
So the first thing I want to know is like what the dealer finance and what is it not?
What is it not? That's actually a really good approach to start with, because people make assumptions about what they think car dealer finance is. So dealer finance is not a convenient service like a bank loan officer. So when somebody goes in and to meet a loan officer at the bank, this is somebody who's actually just focused on the financing and trying to get you financed. Well, the dealer finance office is not this friendly, convenient service like a bank loan officer who's just there to help you sign on a car. That's not one of their functions. They are not trying to save you money, like getting you the lowest rate on your car loan. They are not working for you, and they are not going to speak the truth the entire time that you're sitting in their office. So you have to know that you're going to be sifting out BS and baloney from actual truth in various aspects of what they're presenting. They're not going to tell you the truth the whole time. So what else? So
that sounds kind of scary. So what should people know before they meet the deal, before they go in?
Well, before we mention that, let me tell you what these dealer finance guys actually are. They are the highest skilled and best paid salesmen that the dealership employs. They do work for the dealership, not for you. They're on a mission to make as much money as possible off of you, and they're following orders directly from the top. So this comes right from the dealer owner. If they don't do what they're doing, they get fired, they get replaced. And they are also going to look for multiple banking options, because these are banking options that give them the greatest flexibility to take advantage of the consumer and make the most money off the car dealer. So you asked, what do you need to know before going into the finance office? So it's a good thing to, if you're thinking about buying a car, to be thinking about how much cash you have to work with. And but don't talk about that right away. Just consider how much cash. You should never be doing a zero down long-term finance on a car deal. So know how much cash you have to work with. What rate can you get from your own bank? So if you're sitting in a dealer finance office and you haven't already talked to your own banker and gotten pre-approved or know what your credit is, so you have an idea of what you ought to qualify for, you have no business sitting in dealer finance office. And then you should also know what is the shortest term possible that you can finance a car for. And I had a banker friend of mine years ago, Kyle, who said that if you have to finance longer than 36 months, you can't afford the car you're trying to buy. Now, that's somebody who's very astute when it comes to their finances, but even 48 months is not a bad deal. But today, unfortunately, almost every car is financed for at least 60 months and more like 72 or 84 or 96. I mean, it's just crazy how long you can finance a car, and with 0 months down, that's or 0 months, zero cash down rather, and that's just financial suicide.
Well, lovely. So, what are the document fees, and how much should people pay?
Well, the thing is, a document fee for most states, there are several states that haven't established a baseline for a document fee, but other states have. So here's the interesting part, is that for states who have passed laws with regard to a document fee, what they've done essentially said is, whatever you're going to pay, we just want you to make sure that you're charging everybody the same. So some states do that. And so the dealer just picks a arbitrary number, and in that case, in most cases, then it's going to be several hundreds of dollars, and then they'll just charge everybody the same. What is a fair document fee is actually $75. And now let me explain what a document fee actually does. Document fee pays for the person behind the scenes who's going to transfer your title to the state, get your plates ordered, essentially process what you're paying for under tax title license transfer. They're taking care of that. $75 more than pays for this individual, and the actual real cost to the dealer with their time and effort put into this, they're pocketing about $45 of that $75 in terms of cash profits on top of it after their expenses. So they actually make really good money on it at $75. So what do you think a dealer is doing who's charging you $500 for the same service?
I think they're getting a bigger profit.
They're getting a bigger profit, and they're cleaning your pockets out. And finance guys that I've heard from around the country who will say, well, in Colorado, our fee is, $499 or $599, whatever it is. And they'll just say, that's our state law. And you're going, right. And you're ripping people off to the tune of several $100 because your document fee should be $75. Hey, kind of a follow-up thing. So let's say a dealer tells you in a state elsewhere where their fee is at $275. That's what they decided it was going to be, and they got to charge everybody that thing. So what do you do when you're dealing with somebody who says that's the case? And I've just suggested that you shouldn't pay more than $75 for a document fee. Here's what you do. Let's just, for sake of round numbers, let's say you've negotiated a $30,000 sale price on the car you're looking at, and you walk into the finance office and they say, well, our document fee is $275. You go right back out to that salesman and you say, I'm giving you $29,800 for your car. I'm renegotiating the price of the car because you're gouging me $200 in that finance office, and just get the price of the car changed. Then go in there and pay that $275 fee. You're right where you want it to be anyway. So, all right. So what else you got on the board?
Now, is it reasonable to pay delivery fees?
It is on a new car. Delivery fees from the manufacturer are generally established at a given rate, and it doesn't matter what the value of the vehicle is. They'll tend to have a set fee. If it's a brand new car, you'll see it actually listed on the window sticker of the car out on the lot. Now, here's where things get a little bit tricky. If you see a delivery fee on a used car, I would totally not pay for that. Never would I pay a delivery fee on a used car. And there are dealer owners and dealer managers and salespeople and finance guys who will say, hey, we had to go to auction and pick that car up, and we had to this and we had to that. You know what, guys? That is rolled into the profit of the car you're making. Does a dealer charge more on a retail price than does a private party who's selling a car?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% of the time. And why do they do that?
Profit?
Well, they have some overhead costs that a consumer doesn't have, like their detail office or going to the auction and picking up a car and transporting it to the dealer and cleaning it up and maybe doing a few repairs on it, whatever. There's a number of things that a dealer has to do that a private party person doesn't do, and that's why dealer retail is higher. Never pay a delivery fee on a used car.
Okay. Now, I've heard some things about gap insurance, but what exactly is it, and do I need it?
Well, gap insurance is so that people understand. You get car insurance, and let's say you have full coverage car insurance on your vehicle. So and let's just, for the sake of argument, say you got this $30,000 vehicle. You drive it off the lot, and its actual cash value might be $26,000. There's the car insurance company, if you wreck that car, is only going to pay you $26,000 for a vehicle that you got a $30,000 balance on. Gap insurance covers that difference. So while your full coverage covers everything up to the cash value of the vehicle, gap insurance covers the difference between actual cash value and what your loan balance is. What I suggest people do, though, and this is why I recommend to everybody, put some cash down on your car deal. Don't go out there and do a zero cash down thing. You are setting yourself up for a financial catastrophe driving off the lot if that car should be wrecked. And then you're going to end up paying another $500 to $1,000 for a dealer gap policy, which they're going to roll into your loan or charge you if you're paying cash. Actually, no, if you're paying cash, you don't need gap insurance. Sorry, misspoke there. But they're going to roll that into your loan and pay you. You're going to end up forking over another $500,000 for a gap policy simply because you didn't put cash down and lower your loan balance to what the actual cash value of the car is. So gap insurance, you need it only if you're stupid enough to finance these long terms and putting no money into your vehicle. And then here's another thing that happens, Kyle. People then will have driven this vehicle off the lot, and they come back 4 years later. This vehicle they finance for 6 years or 7 years or whatever it is. They come back 4 years later. This thing still has this high loan balance on it, and it has what the car business calls negative equity. So now the car, has a balance of $15,000 and it's only worth $8,000. They go and trade that car in and try to roll that additional $7,000 of negative equity into the next car deal. It's just, they screw themselves even further. And so the car business has been for a long time designed to create this financial nightmare for people. And if you're going to go buy a car, you just need to be financially responsible. Put at least 10% down on the car that you're going to buy. If it was a $30,000 car and you're going to put 10% down, how much cash are you putting down?
Repeat that again?
If you're putting 10% down on a $30,000 car, how much cash are you putting down?
$3,000?
$3,000. He's from Kelso and he answered the question correctly.
You see, I'm a drummer.
Yeah, he's a drummer, not a mathematician. Yeah, $3,000. Put at least $3,000 down on that car. And you're going to come very close to what its actual market value is or cash value is when you drive the vehicle off the lot. And if you drive a reasonable number of miles every year, you don't need gap insurance. So put 10% at least. And if you can, put 15 or 20% cash down on the vehicle if you're financing. And you're never going to need gap insurance.
Lovely. So a lot of my friends' cars have like this window etching on the sides, like on the windows, and they say it's a valid form of theft protection, but is that true?
They were likely told that by a dealer, but no, it's not true. Window etching is nothing more than a scam. The interesting part is I actually had a attorney general's office in one of the states, which I helped a consumer get their money back on this product. They said that if this company has even paid out a single benefit to one customer over all the years they've had the thing, that they can claim that there's some kind of benefit being paid out to an individual. But the reality is that they sell this window etching anywhere from $300 to $500, whatever they can get out of you. If you were smart on, let's say you already knew what interest rate you were approved for, and you put the screws to them on the financing end, well, then you're likely to see products like window etching go into the deal and at a much higher price than they might have tried to get you at the first time, because they're just trying to get money back where they lose it on other things. There's so many things that a car dealer can put into the negotiation process. It's amazing. And window etching is one of them. So your friends who you say have these etching on their window, the good news for them is they could actually go back to the dealer and cancel this policy and get most of their money back. If the sooner they do it after the car sale, the more they're going to get back. In some cases, 100% of the money. But I'd go back and tell them you want your theft protection thing on your window canceled and get your money back. It's just a scam. And if you want this window etching, if somebody says it's a theft deterrent and you want it canceled, you can buy for $25. You can buy a kit that will do 2 cars. So it's worth about $12 per car.
Lovely. So what does the dealer do when they send out your loan to multiple banks? Like, what's the reasoning for that?
When they shotgun it out to all kinds of different banks.
Yeah.
A lot of people assume, and the finance guy, when I tell people that the finance person understand that they're going to be lying to you at several places that they're explaining things to. So they will tell you that they sent your deal out to many different banks to get the best rate for you. Now that is a bold-faced lie. They're sending it out to many different banks to get the best deal for them. So if you understand something like loan-to-value ratios, LTVs, people talk about this all the time in house loans and car loans and things like that. So if if one banker says, I'll finance a car for Kyle and I'll finance 100% of the loan value, well, that's 100% LTV. If another banker makes an offer and says, I'll finance 110% of the loan value for Kyle, that gives the dealer the chance to add in products like extended warranties and the window etching we were talking about and gap insurance we were talking about and all these other things they can throw into your thing. And you don't notice because all they do is extend the term on your loan and your monthly payment ends up being about the same. So you get fooled into thinking that you've got a good deal, but the dealer is simply using this process of sending it out. We call it shotgunning, and they'll shotgun your loan application out to many different banks, and it's really trying to get the best buy rate for the dealer so they can make the most amount of money on the car deal. And here's the interesting thing is every one of the banks that they're working with, the bankers know that the car dealer finance officer's job is to make the most amount of money as possible on you, the consumer. They already know that. That relationship has been established a long time ago. So they're not there to protect you. They're not there to work for you. The finance officer and the banker, they just shotgunned all this stuff out. They already understand this whole process is entirely about making the most amount of money possible on you, the consumer.
Now, earlier you talked about paying with cash, and I feel like it's safer. But when do you tell them you have cash on you?
You save that secret for the very end. We're going to talk about this actually coming up on Thursday, the 4 different ways that dealers make money. And you think there's a lot more ways. They're actually in its entirety. When you get into the dirty details, there can be hundreds of ways they make money. But there are 4 main categories. But the number one money maker in the dealership is this office we're talking about right now, dealer finance office. So the number one money maker. And when they can use a car loan and pack products into it and basically hide them from you, and you're all focused on being at $300 a month or whatever, they can do all of this to you as long as you're financing. Now, when you're a cash buyer, you've pulled the rug out from under them on a whole number of categories in that finance office. So let me ask you this. If you tell the salesman when you walk in the door, I'm looking for a $20,000 car and I've got $20,000 plus in cash to cover tax title license. I got all the cash. I'm looking for a $20,000 car. How willing do you think they are to negotiate with you on the price of the car?
Not very willing.
They're not willing to at all, because the interesting thing is in the 4 main ways in which a typical dealer makes money, the profit on the sale of the car is actually the lowest. So if you're thinking that you want to get a great deal or great price on the car that you're buying, don't say anything about cash. And if somebody they're going to keep asking this question though. So throughout the negotiation process, if they keep mentioning financing and we should get forms filled out for you and whatever else, you just respond and say, you know what, I've got cash to work with. You don't say, I got 100% of the cash. You just say, I got cash to work with, and I'm not really comfortable filling out these forms out in the dealership or whatever. I'd really prefer to be sitting across the desk from the finance guy when I do that. So I've got good credit. I got plenty of cash to work with. I'm interested in seeing what he has to offer. Leave it at that. And tell them you want to fill that out when you're sitting across the desk from this finance officer, whether male or female. Just tell them you want to do it then. Then when you get into that office, after you've negotiated the price of your car, negotiated your trade, you got all that in writing. I emphasize having it in writing because you don't want them squirming out on the price of the car now on you because you pulled a fast one on them, letting them know the cash thing at the last moment. Make sure you got it all in writing. Take your deal as written up into the finance office and then just say, I just want to know what the tax title license is on this vehicle, and I got the cash for it. That's when you tell them at the very end. Don't play that card till the very last possible moment.
Now, for people that didn't pay fully with cash, or people that kind of got screwed, because it seems there's many ways they can screw you over with this, is there a way to get your money back after you kind of figure out, oh, whoops?
Yeah, you can go home. You can go home and look at your car contract. You might see things like window etching, or they might call it XFR, or they might call it Phantom, or they might call it, there's so many different names. I love the Phantom name for window etching, by the way, because your benefits are phantom. Its usefulness is phantom. The fact that whether police would use this to find your car or not, or its validity in theft protection, that's also phantom. Everything about it is phantom. So I think that's a great name. But anyhow, so I cracked up the first time I saw somebody call theft protection a phantom product. And I went, whoa, that is really kind of tipping the hat there, isn't it? But no, you can get you can cancel your window etching. You can cancel your gap insurance. You can cancel your extended warranty. The only thing you can't do is change the price of the car. You can even change your interest rate, believe it or not, because if they put you into a loan term and an interest rate that's wasn't right for you, take your car deal. There's no closing costs. Take your car deal to your own bank or credit union, refinance your car deal, shorten the term, get the interest rate where it needs to be, and they'll fix it. Here's another thing for people that they can do. Because sometimes car dealers will play hardball with you. So you bring your car contract back into the dealership and you tell them, hey, I want to cancel my window etching or my gap or my extended warranty. And we heard from these guys on Northwest Digital News, Kevin and Kyle, who said, we can cancel our stuff. And so we want to cancel it. And the dealer plays hardball with you and says, oh, you signed the bottom line. It's too late. Well, first of all, that's bullshit. But secondly, here's another way you can get it done. You can first of all threaten to file a complaint with the Attorney General's office. For some dealers, that immediately gets them to go, oh, we don't want them looking at our practices, and so you know what, we'll just figure this out and get it done. But I have also, on multiple cases, had car buyers go to a different dealer than who they bought the car from. Go to a different dealer. Go in and say, I want to talk to your finance officer. Sit down with the finance man and say, I just bought this car recently at this other dealership, and they sold me all this junk on my car deal, window etching, gap, etc. The extended warranty. I want all of it canceled, and I want my vehicle refinanced. Guess what? This finance man gets a free deal with his banker. He gets paid for refinancing your loan. They will, in a heartbeat, be glad to see you, even though you got some other dealer's car and some. I've had many cases where, in fact, I'll give you an example. There was a cable news broadcaster in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area who contacted me about this exact thing. I have established relationships with many dealers around the country as a result of videos I've published in the car business. And so I knew a dealer near her that would do this. I sent her over to this other dealer. She went over there. He contacts the other dealer and says, I'm canceling blah, blah, blah. Now, this dealer couldn't blow any smoke up this guy's tailpipe because he's a finance man from another dealership. He totally knows their game, and he totally knows that everything in here can be canceled. There's nothing they could do. They just went, okay, whatever. And they canceled everything. So this other finance guy from the other dealership cancels her products in her car deal that she did not need, and then refinanced her car deal. She went from a $525 per month to around $400 a month on the exact same vehicle, a better term, better interest rate, took all the junk products out of the car deal, and she got a way better deal. She actually did an interview with me a number of years back on her show following that, and she was absolutely delighted that she was able to go into a different dealership and refinance their loan. So that's something that you can do if you get screwed by a dealer finance officer and you go back to the dealer and they don't help you. The steps that you can take beyond that is, one, file a complaint with the state attorney general's office in whatever state you're in, or go to another dealer and ask the finance man at a different dealership to help you out. Many of them are glad to do that. Well, Kyle, we are out of time for this for today's broadcast. Thanks to everybody who joined us on Thursday. We're going to talk about the 4 main ways in which a dealership makes money, and how. So the more you understand about this whole process, the better informed you are as a car buyer. We, of course, didn't talk about price negotiations and all of that. We were just focusing on finance today. But there's so much to understand about this whole process. And this, Kyle, for most people, is the second largest purchase they'll ever make in their lifetime, besides a house or a business. For most people, second largest purchase they'll ever make. Informed, knowledgeable, and prepared buyers always get the best car deals every single time. You got anything else, Kyle?
I believe that's it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us here on Northwest Digital News on this special edition, talking about how to beat the car dealer finance office. We wish you the best of luck. If you'd like to, put your comments in the comment section below the video, whether it's on Patreon or YouTube or wherever you're following us from today. Put your comments below. We do check back frequently, and we'll be glad to help you out. I'm Kevin Hunter with Kyle Torgerson here on Northwest Digital News. Till next time, take care.